Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our next comedian this evening, Rodney Walter. He's coming. Keep clapping. Keep the energy up. Hey, good evening, y'all. So this is my second time here in my entire life. So I got to tell you, I'm feeling a little anxious, a little nervous. But I feel like I'm in a safe space here, like one of those places where nobody is judgmental or anything like that. So I'm just gonna, come out, get it off my chest, and something that I've been wanting to say for a while now. And so my secret is, I'm a Mexican in Wesley Chapel. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, that feels good to get it out, man. I like white speak just as much as the next person, but sometimes my accent just wants to take over and come out, It's like, I'm talking to people and sometimes I will accidentally knock over the can of refried beans.
You mean spill the beans, babe.
Thank you, love. Spill the beans. Spill the beans. So I'll do that and my accent comes out and they look at me kind of funny or whatever. But really what I'm here tonight is to tell you all about an injustice that's been going on for us Mexicans for a long time. I was like, it's something that I think everybody should know. And it's an injustice called La Puebla de Mierda. Now, if you don't know what that means the chit test. Or as you would say it, the shit test. So, as young kids, we're taught about the chit test from, our family. And so that way we know, because it's something that, we talk about in the casa, but we don't talk about it outside because we don't want the police to know that we're onto them about the chit test. So let me tell you how it goes. So it happened to me, I believed for a while that it was just like the other Mexicans from my generation, I thought it was like an urban mire.
You mean an urban legend?
Urban legend, yes, thank you. Fancy words, urban legend, okay. But I experienced it one day, y'all, for real. I was driving my family and we were coming from a family reunion. We were like in South Laredo and we were headed up to San Antonio back home. And I went out at night and we were driving and all of a sudden I see like these lights in the rearview mirror, like the policia is coming, the red lights and the blue lights. So I looked at my wife and I pulled over and I was like, okay, it's time to go into white speak mode. So I roll down the window and the police officer comes over. And I look at him and I say, yes, officer, did I do something wrong? And he says, sir, can I just please see your license? And I was like, sure. And so I gave him the license and he's looked at me kind of suspicious and he's like, Rodney Walters? And I was like, yes, sir, that's me. But normally it's Rodney Walters, but I wasn't gonna tell him to roll the R's because, that would get me in trouble. So he's like, well, sir, as you know, occasionally we like to do random spot checks and we pull people over and, just to make sure, because we have a lot of immigrants that try to come through here and, we just want to make sure everybody is good. And I was like, yes, sir, I understand. And he's like, so I just have 3 questions for you. I was like, once these 3 questions, as long as you get them, you're good, you can leave and you're good to go. And I'm like, all right, shoot. I was like, so, I'm in like I said, I'm in my white speak mode and I'm waiting for, like where were you born? What's, stuff like that. And so he looks at me and he's like, okay, first question. He's like, what is the square yellow substance that you put on a hamburger? And I looked at him and I was like, I'm sorry, say that again? And he's like, what is the square yellow substance you put on a hamburger? I was like, cheese? And he's like, good job. And my children in the back seat, they're like, hey, good job, Dad. We're like doing high fives all around. It's like, but then it hit me, like right then and there. I was like, oh my gosh. I looked at my wife and I said, ay Dios míos, la Puebla de mierda. I was like, he's doing the chit test on me. And she just looked at me and I felt like all the brownness in me just went out of me and I was like as white as a police officer. And so I looked back over him and like now all of a sudden there's like more police officers there. And I don't know if they were there for like moral support or whatever or something like that. So he's like, the second question. I was like, all right, go ahead. And he said, what is it that you put on after you put on your socks on your feet? And so I looked and I was looking around and I was making sure that the right word was going to come out of my mouth. And I see like the other officers are like inching closer to like their guns. And so real quick I said, shoes. And he's like, that's right, shoes. He's like, good job. And all the other officers, like their hands went back down. They're like, oh, like he got it right. Like, pinche Bob. And so at this point I'm like sweating. I'm like, man, this is rough. It's happening. And I was like, and I know the third question is gonna be the hardest one. So he says, third question. Now, like, mind you, I'm sweating. I mean, I literally looked like I just got out of the Rio Grande and jumped in the car and was making a getaway. And he said, my third question is, what popular brand of black permanent marker do people use? And I was like, oh no. I was like, this is the hardest of them all. I was like, my white speak just could not work no more. It's like my Mexican just took over. And all of a sudden I just yelled, Sharpie! And right then and there, it's like slow motion, like everything just slowed down. All the officers were grabbing their guns. The other one, he opened my door and he pulled me out. And just as I was about to hit the ground, the last words that we always hear, and that's why you always remember, La Puebla de Mierda. You hear, chit, Dad, you hear, chit. And that's my kids in the back seat going, chit. And so that's where we get the word chit test. I was like, from that. Now, mind you, it took me like 3 hours to get out of the police station and prove that I was legal. But, you know, at least now I know that it's not an urban legend. And that's all I got tonight, y'all. Thank you very much.